Is up, you beautiful people. Your weekend has now officially started. It is the late night agenda. It is Friday night, and as always, I'm praying that I haven't left my microphone on mute. And it's good. It's positive news. The good news is I haven't muted myself, so there we go. Not that I've got anything great to say, you know me, Johnny Waffle here of a Friday night, but I'm in good spirits. I hope you guys are as well, and I hope you've got a good weekend planned. I'm going to be taking tomorrow off from live streaming, so we're going to have to make the most of this evening, my friends. And we'll be back on Sunday, of course, for the watch along and all the Arsenal post-match content. Loads to get through tonight. We're going to be talking about Leverkusen and how they're starting to potentially ramp up their search for a replacement for Xabi Alonso. We're going to be talking about a couple of other candidates as well for the Liverpool managerial job and a few other bits and pieces along the way, of course, with a view to the game against Arsenal at the weekend. So how we all doing? I'm still freaked out. I still have no stats for my streams, and I don't know why. You guys can all see the numbers. Connor can see them. Ben can see them. But for some reason, on my end, I can't see any of the numbers. So we're gonna have to find the reason for that. But for now, it's all good. It's all good. Look, I want to say a couple of thank yous as well for a great month. It's been a great year, and we're in start of 2024. Channel's flying. And you guys are responsible for that. So, again, big up yourselves for all of your support of the channel. You guys are awesome. South Africa's in the house, Nevlin. We love that. Welcome in. Seen some lovely messages as well in there before we started. So, appreciate you. I'm going to be talking about Jamie Carragher as well. And a bit of a concerning thought process from Mr. Carragher, but we'll go through that. 79 likes and 383 on the chat. Thank you, Coach Bill. Hopefully that fills up over the next few minutes. We've become accustomed to streams of over 1,000. We've been spoiled. Benjamin, my man, how are we? Said, morning, boss man. Excited for this one. Can't wait for your thoughts on the players' feelings around Klopp going. And if it's all bluster from the press. Yeah, we will be talking about that as well. I think you're probably referring to the David Ornstein comments or quotes. And of course, Benjamin will be going through those this evening, my man. Do really appreciate your support, Benjamin. I mean, mate, you've been awesome with super chats and stuff like that over the years, all the way over in New Zealand as well. So if I ever get the chance to go over, the Milky Bars are definitely on me, my man. If we go over, dinner's on me, drinks are on me, and anything else that we get up to in New Zealand, well, maybe not anything, it can get expensive, especially if we're, I don't know where I'm going with this, Benjamin. I'm just basically trying to say thank you, bud. Try Ireland. I forgot. Yeah, Six Nations starts tonight, doesn't it? I forgot Ireland were playing, I think it's in Marseille against France, if I'm not mistaken. So look, how are we feeling beforehand? The game at the weekend. What are we expecting? I've seen Paul Merson's revised his prediction for the game. He was fairly ballsy all week until he's seen how well Liverpool dealt with Chelsea. And in fairness, at least he has revised his prediction for the game. He's going for a 2-2 draw now on that one. I think he's just trying to find a way to keep his beloved Arsenal in the league title race, and I get it. I don't hate it. I respect him for it. Craig, did you see Darwin was in training today? I did, mate. Yeah, brilliant news. No protective boot, full training, looked happy. So yeah, I definitely did see that, and it's a positive bit of news, I guess. You may or may not have seen the preview that went out earlier on. I gave my predicted 11, my score prediction ahead of the game. Obviously, a few thoughts on the injuries and whatnot as well. But I guess the big decisions, guys, that we've got to discuss for Jurgen at the weekend is, what does he do at right back and what does he do at left back? Good headaches, but I think we need to discuss them. So, as an example, Cara thinks it will be difficult for Klopp to drop Conor Bradley because of how well he's playing. I totally agree with that. And on the left-hand side, I think it's probably an easier decision to go with Joe Gomez because Robbo was out for a lot longer, so probably needs to build up more match fitness. But Trent wasn't out for that long, so I am intrigued to see what Kloppo does there. Does he stick with Conor Bradley or does he go with Trent? I mean, big decision. And I think whatever the decision is, if it doesn't work, it's not going to look great. If it works, genius. If it doesn't, let's say, for instance, he puts Trent in and decides that he wants experience for the game and he gives Conor Bradley a rest. If we don't get the result, very easily we're going to all start thinking, what if we had to play Conor Bradley? So I feel like it's somewhat of a hiding to nothing for the manager, but hey, that's why he gets paid the big bucks to make these decisions. Can you call Alicia Roberts a chimp? Alicia, I don't know why we're being stitched up here, mate. Me and you. I don't like the idea of calling anybody, any lady, a chimp. So, I'm not going to. But Alicia, I can't do it. I respect women too much, mate. I can't do it. So Alicia, I am not going to be calling you a chimp. But your friend thinks you're a bit of a primate. Does that work, Jamie? There we go. Thanks, Mush. Mush? I've never heard that one before, except for mush being a description of face, as in look at the mush on that. But there we go. Anyway, thank you, Jamie, my man. Is there any update on Doak by Cecic and Costas? So Costas has been doing bits of training. Doak, genuinely, I don't have a clue. Sorry, I really don't have a clue on Ben Doak. By Cecic, it's gone very, 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 very quiet on Stefan. Like, really quiet from what I've seen. And I've today read The Echo, I've read The Athletic. I've tried to keep an eye on as many things as I can and not see too much at all on Stefan by Cecic. Arsenal folds on the big stage, Liverpool to win, said Kyle Stark. Look, I think Arsenal season's on the line on Sunday. I'm going to go that far, particularly the league campaign, I mean. Because if Liverpool leave the Emirates with a win on Sunday, that's it. That's Arsenal done and dusted. They can forget about the league title. They can, make sure they stay in the top four. They're still in the Champions League. Fair play. But, yeah, if we win, I'd say even if we draw, I would say Arsenal's gone at that point. Yeah, they need to beat us to get back into the race, and we need to try and make sure that we remove another threat. So if we can beat Arsenal, I think it's down to us and Man City at that point, in my humble opinion. But again, the media, or many of them, seem to think Manchester City just have to show up to win the league between now and the end of the season. Right, so let's get into a few bits and pieces that we haven't spoken about since earlier on. So David Ornstein, speaking about Klopp's departure, he said these news of Klopp leaving hit the players like a bolt out of the blue. They, the Liverpool players, didn't get any advance warning. I've had suggestions that some of the senior players were partially not happy about that, particularly not happy about that. So, look, I'm protective of Liverpool in these scenarios, just as I'm going to be later on about something Jamie Carragher said. So, I don't like when journalists give themselves too much of a get out of jail card. And by that I mean no actual guaranteed bona fide information about who said what. So what he said is they didn't have any advance warning. I've had suggestions that some of the players were particularly not happy. Come on. I've had suggestions that I've got a 12-inch hog, but it's bullshit. So I'm going to need a bit more than that from Mr. Ornstein before I feel like I'm starting to worry. Look, did it come as a surprise to some of the senior players? Absolutely, I would imagine so. Certainly came as a surprise to us fans, so I'm sure it would to the players as well. But what they mean about being particularly not happy, I don't know what to say. Ultimately, they're contracted to the football club, and I would say this about anybody. If you don't want to play for Liverpool Football Club, there's the door. Adios, best of luck. We've seen it before, and we'll see it again. And now, I'm not trying to say David Ornstein is saying that players want out of the club. Not at all. But my point is, if you're not happy playing for one of the best football clubs in the world, with the best fans in the world, one of the most iconic stadiums in the world, and a team that's challenging on all fronts, best of luck heading anywhere else, because the grass isn't always greener. That's always the warning. Alicia's my missus, and it really annoys her. Oh, she's your missus. Okay, Chimpy. Alicia. Chimp. Sorry, Alicia. But I don't know why he called you a chimp, by the way. I mean, there's probably a backstory to that, but I don't know. But, look, I'm up for anything that annoys the other half, mate. I spend my entire existence trying to annoy my other half, so I get where you're coming from. I heard if you manscape it, Craig, it looks bigger. I can manscape as much as I want, Kerry. It's still going to be an awful disappointment, mate. There's not enough manscaping in the world to Well, I could come on and give a Billy Big you-know-what, but, let's be honest, Team Shrimp. Right. Media smoke. Yes, I think so as well, Colin. It always feels like there's always somebody looking to derail us, right? And look, David Ornstein's a really good journalist, really good guy, really good journalist. I don't think he's trying to cause any trouble at all. I just think all of these things, even with the Van Dijk stuff, that was jumped on immediately by the media and tried to make it out like Van Dijk was considering his future. Again, everything needs full context. Everything, you need to read and see body language. There's a lot of stuff that I would take with a pinch of salt when we're in these scenarios. So for me, I'm not overly concerned. And like I said, if you don't want to be at Liverpool Football Club or you don't think this is the best place for you, I mean, best of luck finding a better club. Right, let's get into some talk about managerial situations, because we did say we're going to be talking about Bayer Leverkusen. So Bayer Leverkusen are preparing for the possibility of losing Xabi Alonso. Hansi Flick was considered as a potential successor. He's most likely, though, going to look towards Barcelona. He's high up on Barcelona's wish list. But look, I can't be the only one who feels like all signs are pointing to Alonso coming in to take the Liverpool manager's job. We know that there's the spoken but not written agreement that if a club of these three, Liverpool, Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, come in and Xabi Alonso wants the role, that there is an agreement in principle that he'd be allowed to take the jobs. Now, of course, there'll be compensation due to Leverkusen, and we spoke about that yesterday. 8 figures is rumoured to be the minimal amount, so you're talking €10 million upwards. And again, with other coaches as well. So Ruben Amorim, from Record in Portugal, who are a Portuguese media outlet via Liverpool or LFC Transfer Room, they say sporting manager Ruben Amorim have claimed that he'd leave the club in the summer in case he doesn't win any titles this season. So I think he means he'd leave in the summer if he doesn't win any titles this season, with Liverpool as a potential destination, but he strictly told his team not to have any conversations until the summer. So basically he's ruled himself out of the Liverpool job there, because there's not a cat's chance in hell that we wait until the summer to appoint a manager. That would just be stupidity. I get what he's saying. He's in a job. He's focused for the remainder of the season. But if he wants to be considered for the Liverpool manager's job, then that stance is certainly going to have to soften up, you would imagine. Because we can't wait that long. We need to know who the next manager is. And then they can get back to managing, if they're managing currently, whoever they're managing, and keep their focus on that for the end of the season. But Liverpool need some answers to sporting director, manager, player contracts. These are things that the longer this situation drags on, I think the more concerned we all start to become, and players will probably be included in that. Asif said there is not a better club than Liverpool. Absolutely, sir. Now look, there are players who have particular clubs that they grew up idolising, so you always have to take that into account. But if you're at Liverpool right now, I don't see why you'd want to leave. Times are looking bright ahead. Yes, it's a huge shock to everybody that Jurgen Klopp is going to be departing at the end of the campaign, and that's not ideal. But whoever comes in is obviously going to be a top coach, or they're not going to be coming to Liverpool. They're going to be inheriting a really good, refreshed team that they can still put their own stamp on. So, honestly, I get that players might be a little bit concerned by it and certainly disappointed because they believed Jurgen would have been there till 2026. But I don't envision or hope that many people are going to be looking for the exit door. Should they be happy when the manager leaves? Well, of course not, Thorsten. But we're not saying they shouldn't be happy. Of course they shouldn't be happy. But that's not the expression that I think is tried to be painted, or the picture that's tried to be painted by some people attributing these comments to David Ornstein. So no, they shouldn't be happy, but they should also realise that they're contracted to the football club and the manager doesn't pay their wages. But I get it. It's a shock to the system. I'm very defensive. I warned you at the start of the stream I was going to be defensive of Liverpool today because, we're all a little bit sensitive at the minute, and I'm sick of the media trying to stick the boot in and undermine us at any opportunity. So I'm going to push back and defend the club. I respect Ornstein, said Benjamin Alford, as do I. Fantastic journalist. I don't know him personally, but seems like a really nice fella. I get the surprise. David is being vague here. One piece of info that worries me about it is Trent is interested in Madrid move. My pal in Spain is convinced with the gossip. What I would say to, I don't know if this will put your fears at ease at all, but Madrid will only have so much money as well. Like, I get it, they need a bit of a refresh in fullback and a few other positions, but they're going to put a lot of money into the pot for a forward, whether that's Kylian Mbappe, whether that's Erling Braut Haaland, whether that's somebody else. Well, let's wait and see. We know they need fullbacks. It looks pretty, well, at least the last time I read up, it looked pretty likely that Alphonso Davies will leave Bayern and go over to Real Madrid. I know Trent has a great friendship with Jude Bellingham, and I know that's a fairly easy link to make there as well. But I just can't see it. I can't see it happening for Trent. He's a captain in waiting. He's at his boyhood club. I assume he's feeling fulfilled here. I hope. Yes, his contract needs to be sorted, but, you know, of the three of them, if I was to put it in order of being concerned, I would say Salah I'm most concerned about, Verge somewhere in the middle, and Trent probably least. But that's just my gut feeling. I don't have any information on that. New emoji, Team Shrimp. There we go. JC's going to love that. JC, if he's watching, I don't know if you are, mate, he's going to be full on all over that Team Shrimp emoji. There you go, JC. That one's for you, my man. Literally. One club man, in my opinion, said Toes. I agree. Now look, we're all assuming that, but let's wait and see. But these are the things that I guess we now have to concern ourselves with, because if Klopp was here till 2026, I don't really have any concerns other than what John W. Henry wants to do with the Mohamed Salah situation. Outside of that, I think the players would be all up for staying. At least I hope. Did you guys see the Tyson Fury-Alexander Usyk fights postponed? Tyson Fury got a really nasty looking cut, in fairness, above his right eye, which, as soon as you see the cut, you knew the fight had to be postponed. It's just one of those things that happens in sparring. So that'll be postponed and rescheduled for ASAP. Also, another bit of sad news. Carl Weathers, aka Apollo Creed, passed away as well. So another one of my childhood heroes gone, and feels like a lot over the last year or so. So the announced resignation of Jurgen Klopp also has consequences in Germany, according to Christian Falk. Bayer Leverkusen are preparing for the possibility of coach Xabi Alonso going to Liverpool. I'm liking all this stuff in the media about Alonso and Liverpool, because I would be very happy if this was sorted out quick smart. And the quicker the better, in all honesty. Liverpool would ask 150 million for Trent. Real Madrid can't afford that. Well, honestly, I don't know, because at the end of this season, he'd have a year to go on his contract. I don't know these days. A year to go on your contract used to mean a knockdown price, right? But not so much over the past 5 years. You've seen some players, Kane as an example, go for €100 million. Hazard, 1 year to go, similar thing. We were talking about Mohamed Salah, but that was to Saudi Arabia. So, again, high fee. So, I have no idea. I don't even want to find out what the asking price or what the value of Trent might be. I'd rather just find out how long his new contract is for. Craig, why would anyone choose the Super League? So, feck Real Madrid, Alonso nailed on, and why not Mbappe too? That's the spirit, Martin. There you go. Them's fighting words. I love it. Why would anyone choose Madrid? I don't get it at the moment. I wouldn't be joining any club that is still pushing the Super League if I was a player. I'd be concerned. I'd be concerned about the mess that's going to come down the line. But in saying that, they are always going to be an attractive proposition, Real Madrid, because they are, I guess, the poster boys, the Galacticos, they're probably the biggest club in world football. Them or United, if you look at it, are probably the two most followed, or certainly biggest earning over the years clubs in world football. But with Madrid and Barca still attached to the Super League, I don't know. Apparently, according to Juan Laporta, everybody's attached to it except Atleti in Spain. Most people predicted Fury would postpone the fight. Now look, I'm not overly fond of Tyson Fury at the best of times, but that cut, I mean, no way you can fight with that cut. Not in 2 weeks. Not a hope. I mean, I've no suspicions after seeing the cut. None. Zero. You couldn't. You couldn't fight with it. That's going to take a bit of healing, to be fair. I don't know, is that the same? I can't remember. But remember he had a cut against Otto Vollen. I don't know if it was the same eye or not. I don't know if it's the same scar tissue maybe that's opened back up. But you're certainly talking a few stitches there and some healing time. 238 likes, 1,300 people watching. Thank you. Appreciate that. And look, guys, if you are watching and you haven't liked, please do. Most importantly, please do hit that subscribe button. This is the last stream until Sunday, so we're gonna have a bit of fun tonight. And any topics you want to throw into the chat, lash in. Right, a little bit more defending of me here from the club. Jamie Carragher has said something that, look, I'm not going to go in on him for. I think it's a valid concern, but I just slightly disagree with Mr. Carragher. So Jamie Carragher believes Liverpool will fall back into fighting for a top 4 spot after Jurgen Klopp leaves the club. Writing in a column for The Telegraph, Jamie Carragher said, maybe there will be a seamless transition at City and Liverpool after Klopp and Guardiola have gone. More likely is the prospect of them falling back into the pack. There's no substitute for continuity, which is what Liverpool will be seeking in those they consider to replace Klopp. Now, look, I get what Jamie's saying. And I agree with him with regard to there's nothing, you can't be consistency or continuity. I've said that very phrase many times here over the years. But I think there's a bit too much about this group. So if it's just a matter of a managerial change and we don't lose any of the players we don't want to lose, I don't think I agree with Jamie. I still think we're the best of the rest. I can understand how somebody could maybe see City are, with that continuity of Pep, maybe still a step ahead. But I wouldn't be fearing falling away. I think we can still expect a good season next season. But I guess while we don't know who the manager is, we're all a little bit on edge. And maybe that includes Jamie Carragher, I don't know. But yeah, I slightly disagree with him, but I understand where he's coming from. And the reason, I guess, is I don't understand who he thinks is going to bypass us in that time as well. Because Arsenal are still a striker and fighting spirit away from realistically challenging, in my opinion. Spurs will get better with Ange Postecoglou, but they're still there to be gotten at. United are a long, long, long way away from challenging at the top end of the league properly. Newcastle have had a bit of a crazy season with the Champions League, been knocked out of that. Injuries, of course, as well. So I don't really have many concerns because I think maybe outside the City we are the best of the rest, regardless of who the manager is. Hey Craig, I'm on base duty at the weekend, so I'm late. Please forgive me. Update, please. We're just really having a chat about the managerial situation. The situation with regards to Xabi Alonso and Leverkusen. They're preparing for potentially for life without him as manager. Craig, look at our young squad. This is only the start. That's definitely how I feel. I'm with you. I agree. By the way, we got an answer to the question that we were looking for. So you know the way we couldn't get gifted memberships on top of the league? We actually found out why today. The YouTube manager that we've been working with did get back to us with it. So for gifted memberships to be, and I guess this is information that a lot of YouTubers might need, because I don't know if they know this or not, because I certainly didn't. But if you want memberships to be able to be gifted on your YouTube channel, the membership in question has to be $5 American or less. So our membership, I think, was $5.49 or something like that on top of the league. So we're going to change that and bring it in at, I think, $4.99 or something. So for any other YouTubers that may be facing the same difficulties, that's the reason why perhaps it needs to be $5 American or less to be able to be gifted, which is why the membership on here is able to be gifted, because it's $2.99. So that's the answer. So there you go. It was bugging us though. It was, because we were trying to figure it out. Like, we think we did nothing different, but that's the they should probably make that information more readily available, because it wasn't immediately apparent to us anyway. There's no subscription feature in my country, said Foxy. That's all right, man. You're here with us. You're chatting. You're putting in your comments. You're watching. We appreciate that, my man. Isn't Jamie the guy accused of spitting on a 14-year-old? I mean, yeah, but I don't really feel like that's. See, that's one of those situations where he made a mistake, and he absolutely made a mistake, and nobody disputes he made a mistake. But it's also one of those situations where I know if that was me, and I'm sure probably if it was you, you wouldn't want one of your worst moments being what you're defined by, right? So I remember having this conversation in DMs with Chris Pajak, because we had a bit of a to-do on social media, myself and I think it was Machin, and I brought up the whole Chelsea thing, and he said, how would you like your worst moments you to be constantly reminded of it? And it stuck with me, to be fair, because I thought, understandable, I get where he's coming from. So in this situation with Carragher as well, I would say we all make mistakes, and we all like to try and make up for those mistakes with our actions over a longer period of time. So for the one shitty thing that he certainly did there, Carragher, I'm sure there's multiple examples of great charity work, favours and kind things that he's done as well. So if you want to talk about him in his football opinions, that's one thing, but I'm definitely not going to be taking cheap shots about those type of things. How did you think of starting this channel? It was Connor. Yeah, Connor was the one that came up with the idea. We had a podcast, and podcasts are really fun and they're great, but you don't have instant feedback. You get your data, you get your stats, but that's it. So Connor said, why don't you go and do YouTube? And I said, I've no idea how to do a YouTube channel. I've no idea how to run a football fan content channel because I've never really watched YouTube too much. So then Connor said, well, let's give it a try. And I said, but dude, I was 35 at the time. I'm too old. So we gave it a try anyway, long story short. And went on, first night stream. I can't even remember what the title of the stream was, but we started streaming and people wandered in, a couple of people, a handful at first. And I just started chatting to them like I'm chatting with you now. We talked football, we talked life, we talked everything. We had laughs, we had jokes, and it grew and grew over time. And the early days, our streams were 3.5, 4 hours a lot of the time. And I was so bad. I was so bad in the early days, like so monotonous and no personality and just like a rabbit in the headlights. Over time, those long streams kind of started to build up a following of people that came in. And then we added in the watchalongs and all the other stuff. And somehow we're here 240,000 subscribers later. Right, more news. More news. So that shirt from earlier on, the one that we put up on screen, the black shirt, that's caused a little bit of a tizzy on social media. So Watch LFC posted the image of the shirt and said, rumoured Liverpool 24-25 away kit, 3D colouring, thoughts red. And then LFCDZN11 replied, on what basis has anyone said that this is the away kit for next season? You've just made that up. It's clearly a concept kit, nothing more than that. Next season's kits have already been leaked, which I'm sure is something you reported on. So, firstly, let me just say, I'm not having a pop at either of those two accounts at all. I'm just talking about the jersey. That's the only part of this that I'm just relieved that it's a concept kit. That's basically where I was going with this, because I didn't like it at all. So, and as was pointed out, we have seen leaked colours and some shirts from next season. But that was a concept kit, so at least I can rest easily knowing that I'm not going to have to look at Liverpool players wearing that. Craig, which players are the ones unhappy? Mate, it's not me that said it, so I've no idea who they are. And nor would I expect us to be told who they are, because, that's kind of the journalist get out of jail free card sometimes, isn't it? Oh, can't give up my sources. Oh, they're senior figures though. What type of senior figures? Can't say. Why? Well, if I say, I'll never get the information again. See what I mean? It's kind of like a win-win. But I think when you look at these things, again, you look at the pattern of work that the journalist has had over a period of time, and nobody's ever going to accuse David Ornstein of being a clickbait merchant. He absolutely is not. He's a very good journalist, but I would like a bit more info on that as well. But unfortunately, we don't have it. Benjamin said, could we get your views on Chelsea's demise? Oh, God, yes. My views on it. It couldn't happen to a nicer club. There's a particular type of arrogance that comes from certain clubs in London, for me. And they are head and shoulders above the rest. If you were to pick me, it's a set of fans I don't like. Whilst I will not try to say all Chelsea fans are the same, I feel like there's more than a fair share of arseholes in their fan base. Again, with some really cool, really great fans as well. But I think maybe it's because I've been to a few Liverpool-Chelsea games at Anfield and I've seen the behaviour of the arrogance and the belittling of the area and the financial situation and all this other stuff that came along with some of those Chelsea fans. I also don't really like the fact that they seem to have been a club that has gotten away with a lot of financial stuff over the years. Like, what was it, 900 grand a week for 17 years, losing under Roman Abramovich. Now we've got the Todd Bowley thing coming in and being able to spend over £1 billion. I just don't like anything about the way the club's been ran in modern times. I don't like the throwaway mentality of managers, although it's brought them success. But this time, this is, in my opinion, the biggest shitting of the bed, because they've leveraged the club basically with young players on long contracts, and I don't see how it works out for them in the long term. I think there's only going to be so many players they can get away with selling to Saudi Arabia or for overinflated prices, or so many academy products that they'll be able to keep selling on. And by reports over the last day or so, they have to come up with £100 million by June, or else they could be potentially falling foul of profit and sustainability rules. So, keep an eye on that one. But I just found the whole thing weird. The way, since Bowley's come in, I think he overpaid for the club. I think he's overpaid for a lot of players. And I think whilst he's trying to be clever with the long-term contract to those players, I think he ends up in 2 or 3 years' time with a lot of overpaid players happy to sit on the bench and collect a pay slip because nobody else is going to pay them that money. So it'll be very difficult to get rid of some of them. Good evening, mate. Sending love from Merseyside. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate you. Rachel as well. Thank you for gifting a membership, mate. Always very kind. Chelsea need to raise 100 million. Any players would take at Liverpool. For me, Colwill and Gallagher. Not Gallagher. Colwill, yes. Would very, very happily take Levi Colwill. And I hope we do come in and at least try. Nothing wrong with asking. They managed to get Broha out on loan last night. You've probably seen it at the very end of the transfer window. He went on loan to Fulham for the remainder of the season. I think a 4 million loan fee, if I'm right. Also, there was the Benrahma deal. That actually got approved in the end. You've probably seen this yourselves today. You've seen the statement put out by Leon, who in my opinion now look like a right bunch of clowns. I don't know if you guys feel the same about that, but the way Leon attacked West Ham and West Ham's handling of the contract or the information that needed to be uploaded to UEFA or FIFA, I found disgusting, in all honesty. The transfer was given the go-ahead today, loan with an option to buy at the end of the season for 15 million. I think Leon just looked like absolute arseholes the way they went in last night with that statement. Not a good look at all, in my opinion. Certain people have short memories. When Mourinho left Chelsea first time, they still won things with different managers coming and going. Liverpool will not collapse. Chelsea have always kind of been run that way, though, in recent times. Managers coming in 2-3 year stints and then moving on. And it has brought them success over the years with Abramovich's money and whatnot. But this time, they don't have that same continuity behind the scenes at the club that they had when Mourinho was there. And I just, if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd genuinely be concerned, because there's a lot of money after being spent to build that squad, and you've got your £220 million midfield coming to Anfield and leaving with their tail between their legs and looking like they haven't got a clue, haven't got the stomach for the fight, don't know what the manager wants from them, don't have the ability to dig in games, and their best player was probably still the 38-year-old centre-back. And that's after spending £1 billion. Weird. What's your front three versus Arsenal? So, Kabir, if Darwin is fit, it would be Darwin on the left, Jota in the middle, and Diaz on the right. Um, Klopp could also go Darwin through the middle, Diaz on the left, and Jota on the right. So if Darwin doesn't start, it's the obvious three, right? It's going to be Gakpo, Gakpo, Jota, and Diaz. But I hope Darwin starts. Chelsea have got no leaders in the side, 100%. Like we often talk when we're talking, like even when I was talking about replacing Matip or Thiago a few weeks ago, you want somebody of a similar profile brought in. So it's all very well and good having good 18 to 22 year olds, but there's something to be said for having 27, 28, 29, 30 year olds in and around the squad who've been there, done it, you know, and wouldn't allow the capitulation at Anfield, albeit it was still a great performance from us. Will Chelsea end up in a similar state as Manchester United? Oh, I think it could be a lot worse. Oh, genuinely, I think it could be a lot worse than United. Like United, there's a very easy fix for a few people there. You look at the debt, you look at the leverage buyout, you look at the servicing of that debt, you look at the lack of a proper sporting director, some really questionable transfer decisions. I'd be far more concerned because United at least are a cash generating machine, and once they get any semblance of decency on the pitch, things balance out a little bit more. But I'd look, maybe I want Chelsea to be in a bit more bother, but I feel like it's a big problem for them down the line. Benjamin, thank you again for your super chat, mate. Said if FFP does have teeth now, could we see a top four situation where the better run clubs own the top four? Yes. And a good point, and I think one that we raised when we were talking about profit and sustainability rules. So for the first time ever, it actually looks like the way... Well, no, maybe I'm being overly harsh here. In my head, for the first time ever, I can actually see that FSG's type of ownership may actually benefit us now. Because if, as Benjamin asked, if profit and sustainability or FFP is really being enforced, we're in a great position. We are in a very good position with regards to being able to outspend other clubs because, you know, they have the threshold of 105 million losses over 3 years. Liverpool have a lot of wiggle room. Even I think that thread from Mo Chatra or the tweet from Mo Chatra the other day spoke about Liverpool having the ability to have a big summer coming up if they need to. And you've seen it in this transfer window. Any other year you would expect Arsenal to go out there and bring in a striker. You would expect most clubs to dip the toe in the water, but you've seen Newcastle couldn't do anything really. United couldn't do anything, even though they probably wanted to. Arsenal never got that striker in. So yeah, I hope it does, because the most important thing in all these conversations is that your kids and your grandkids get to see these football clubs exist in 10, 15, 20, 30 years. So if it's sustainable and the type of ownership we have is clever, brilliant. I hope it does bring us benefit, and it would be nice to think that those frugal ways of FSG come back to pay dividends in the longer term. I'd love to see Szoboszlai, Jota, Diaz, or Diaz, Jota, Elliott, said Liam Thomas. I don't think either of those wingers in your system, Elliott or Szoboszlai, to me, will get the job done. We've seen Elliott in a few games, and I was the same as you, by the way. I said play Elliott on the right wing, and we've seen it, and we didn't get the same out of him as we did when he was in midfield. I don't know if Szoboszlai has the pace to do what we need on the right side of attack, and I also think him and Curtis Jones have a really good understanding where they play now. That midfield three, whoever's the DM, whether it's Maka or whether it's Watoro, I gotta say I'm loving Jones and Szoboszlai. I think they're fantastic as a duo. Sorry, Craig was comparing the fact that Klopp left leaves Liverpool, the club won't collapse. Oh no, I got you, Susie. Sorry if I came across, mate, that I was answering you a different way. Sorry, I totally did understand where you were coming from, and I knew that you were saying to Carragher, you know, don't write yourself yet. Can see this affecting City soon and we win 6 league titles and 2 Champions Leagues with Xabi, said Brett Young. Lucas Nolan said, how much money do you think we need for the summer? Again, I think it's impossible to ask and answer that question right now because I don't know what the manager what positions he plays. If we bring in a manager that wants to play 3 at the back, I think we probably need 2 centre backs to be brought in. So I really don't know how to answer the question because I don't know what the new manager will assess the squad to be or what deficiencies he thinks we might have, what system he's going to play. But I think a centre-back is the only one I feel really comfortable saying whoever comes in, a centre-back's going to be needed to be bought. And then, of course, there's the elephant in the room, the Salah situation. Will we need to go into the market to bring in an attacker? If we do, what does that attacker look like? Is it going to be a wide player? Is it going to be somebody through the centre? And I don't know the answer to that either. Which is why you need as much stability at the club as possible and why we need to have the answer to the whole sporting director managerial situation sorted out soon. Or as soon as possible. 8 points clear before City play Monday. That would be brilliant, David. That would be so good. You know, that would really be a good bit of breathing room, even though they'll win on Monday. Brentford they're playing, if I remember right, and close the gap, but we need to make sure that we keep a bit of a gap on them, and I think there's only 2 points in it if they win the games in hand. So a draw against Arsenal wouldn't be the end of the world, but I think it would be a feeding frenzy for the media. If we drop any points to Arsenal, I fully expect it to be jumped all over by the media and the coronation of City to begin, which it already has with many, but we won't let it go. And this is where Klopp leaving might actually benefit us because everybody knows what we're playing for. Everybody knows this is the last dance, and everybody knows that no one's going to want regrets come the end of the season. They want to send Klopp off with as many trophies as we can. Does City's game in hand worry me? No. You always, knowing that once it's in our own hands, that's all we can ask for. And the age-old phrase of, you'd rather the points on the board than games in hand. So, the 2 games that worry me are Arsenal and Manchester City at Anfield. They're the only 2 games that very much concern me. I'm not saying there won't be other challenges, but I feel like these are the ones that will have an impact on the season because of the timing of them, right? This game coming up now against Arsenal, it comes just as we've beaten Chelsea, just as we've seen City start to get Haaland and De Bruyne back. De Bruyne in particular, actually, Haaland's getting close to being back. So we don't want to give them any encouragement or incentive to, get the bit between their teeth. We need to try and keep that gap. So if we beat Arsenal, in my head, that's the first time I'll start to think we're favourites for the league title. If we beat Arsenal, if we draw with Arsenal, it's anyone's then between us and City. The game at Anfield, I don't think we lose it when we play them, and that'll be okay once we beat Arsenal. So if we beat Arsenal, draw with City, in my head, I think we're favourites to win the league. Your thoughts on our games against Arsenal, City and Tottenham could define this title? Look, we beat Spurs at Anfield, in my opinion. Regardless of what Spurs turn up, I think we beat them at Anfield. We should have beaten them at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but Darren England and Simon Hooper put paid to that, if I remember correctly about the VAR ref. Arsenal and City, look, it's toss of a coin games. If it was at Anfield, I'd feel more comfortable playing Arsenal, but at the Emirates, after we beat them in the FA Cup there, and they know that if they lose this game to us, that's probably them out of a title race. So I'm expecting them to throw the kitchen sink at us. Oh yes, Haaland played against Burnley. I forgot that, mate. Sorry, Mansour. Thank you for your... Genuinely, when I say I don't pay much attention to Manchester City, I'm not messing. I can't even bring myself to watch them on Match of the Day. Don't underestimate Villa. We're away to them in game week 37. Yeah, second last game of the season, dude. If we're still on top of the league going into game week 37, I'll take that right now. And I'm not underestimating Villa, but I'm also not going to believe for 1 second that we're not a better football team than Aston Villa. So they've got their own concerns right now. They've been beaten. Their brilliant home record, which is what's kept them at the top end of the Premier League this season, that was taken away from them by Newcastle. So they've got an FA Cup replay coming up as well. So they've got other stuff to concern them. But if we get to that point, game 37, and we're still top of the league, I think we'll take that right now. How's my favourite guy doing? Aww. Stop it. Stop being nice to me. I'm not used to it. Weird, right? But thank you. And I'm doing good, thank you, my friend. I'm looking forward to a day off tomorrow to rest up, because it's been a manic last month or so. But I still have lots of stuff I want to talk about tonight and go through. So let's talk. Where's this? What's this one? Right, so I did say earlier on in the stream that Jamie Carragher believed Conor Bradley should keep his spot ahead of Trent against Arsenal. We were speaking to Sky Sports, and he said the performances of Bradley gives Jurgen Klopp a real dilemma for what he does at the weekend. He's got form, he's got rhythm, but Liverpool have needed a backup for a long time. They've got that, and it might be a little more now. Goes on to say, look, Bradley's a young player. He's had a brilliant start. The rest of his career won't go like this every week. There's a lot of ups and downs with injuries, loss of form, but he's on a great ride at the moment, and keep that momentum going. That's why I think he should start at the weekend. A lot of people, myself included, have been saying for a long time that Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back is good. Difficult to bring somebody else in as backup because they know they're not going to play. Well, I again, this one I agree with Jamie with, but I think Klopp plays Trent. I mean, it will be a big statement if Jurgen goes into this game away from home at the Emirates and goes with Conor. Sound with it. But I just have a feeling we're going to see Gomez at left back and Trent at right back. That's my gut feeling. Actually, I mentioned this earlier on. Do you use Mr. Sheen on your head? No, but I have just freshly shaved it, actually. Face and head just before the stream, so it might be a little bit extra shiny. I want to go back to something I mentioned on the 4 o'clock stream today, if you guys weren't in. So, player ratings and bias from Sky. I've been banging on about this for a while, and I'm not going to let it drop. Whoever they have watching Liverpool games and doing player ratings for Sky needs to find a new job, or doesn't understand what they're looking at. Does anybody want to tell me how they deemed that Virgil van Dijk was a 5 out of 10 against Chelsea? 5. For context, they gave Enzo Fernandez 6. So I am supposed to believe that Enzo had a better game than Virg. Enzo, who was destroyed in the middle of the park and booked and shit, had a better game than Virg. I don't know what they're looking at. And Bradley got an 8 out of 10. 8. Scored, assisted 2, and had a great game. And all the miserable feckers at Sky, or whoever did this for Sky, could bring themselves to give him was an 8. Canade got a 6. Gomez got a 6. 6s. Madness. Just... As I said, for context, Van Dijk 5, Enzo Fernandez 6. Bradley was minimum 9 in anyone's world. Name me another young fullback who comes in, scores, and has 2 assists in a game, has back-to-back man of the match performances. Because remember, he was man of the match, and they gave him an 8. These are the type of things that will end up getting me in trouble, because most people will just go, don't worry about it, Craig. It's just a throwaway thing. I feel it's a bit deeper than that. And I feel like as soon as United do anything semi-good, it's all over the place. Even when Ten Hag came in, do you remember the images of him on the pitch with his chest out, looking like he was Superman? It's just, I'm done with it now. Between that and everybody at Sky Sports falling over themselves to praise Manchester City, I just sometimes wish, is there anybody with a backbone there that will speak up and before you maybe laud them some more, say, there was a little matter of 115 charges labelled against them. I feel like we need more respect, especially from Sky. I don't think we get enough of it. Oh, and that's before we move to TNT Sports and talk about their stupid 12:30 kickoff times and constantly choosing Liverpool, putting us at a disadvantage after international breaks. I mean, the broadcasters are very transparent, in my opinion. There's always been a belief amongst a lot of Liverpool fans that Sky have a preference for United because Rupert Murdoch tried to buy Manchester United at one point in the past. And it just feels like they've always been a very Sky-friendly or United-friendly channel. But this shit about the scores, man. I know I'm probably going too far with it, but I'm fed up of it. Give the man his credit. 8 out of 10 is a joke. Oh, the life of the Detroit Lions fans too. I know your pain. Oh, I've seen the Lions signs, Detroit versus everyone. And sometimes I feel like that's the way with us Liverpool fans as well. It's like us versus everyone. Sky in New Zealand hardly even show Liverpool games. It's mental. What do we think of the nickname that Curtis Jones gave to Diogo Jota, by the way? Diogo Jota is called the Ghost by Curtis Jones because of his ability to drift unnoticed in games, only then out of nothing to deliver a decisive moment. I like it. I like it. 2-1 or 3-2 to Liverpool on Sunday, said Brett Young. How are we scoring more without Salah? Well, can we have that conversation? I feel like that's a lovely talking point. Mohamed Salah, what to do? How do you guys feel about it right now? If you were John W. Henry, what would you be doing with Mohamed Salah's situation? And if you were Jurgen Klopp, what you doing when he's back? Let's assume that he's back for Burnley. Do you put him straight back in the team? I do. If it's me, I think I would. Yeah, I think he comes back into the team. But it's encouraging that while he's been away, the results have been positive and we've scored goals. I mean, that gives me some belief for the future if we do lose Mo that we won't, we're not a one-team man. That's important. Craig, I love your content. Thank you, Stephen Irons. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody, mate, that contributes to the channel. So thank you. Who would you take, Neto or Elise? Elise. Although I do like Pedro Neto. He's got that fire in his belly. Be concerned for both of them with regards to some injuries. But yeah, I like Elise. But I think, well, I don't know actually. But the article that said last week United were his preference over Chelsea anyway. By the way, I wasn't talking about selling Salah. Well, I did ask what you'd do if you're John W. Henry, actually, in fairness. So I did mean, just to clear up what Mark said, I did say both in a very quick period of time. So, yes, what would you do if you're John W. Henry in the summer? Would you look to renew or would you sell? And again, if you're Jurgen and he's back available, what are you doing with Mo? Do you play him? Salah last 30, said Stig. We spoke about Carl Weathers earlier on, James. Very sad. I was a huge fan of Rocky films growing up, and seeing the news that Carl Weathers passed away, it's incredibly sad. The team has momentum. Let him get his rest, said Baz. I feel we're more one-dimensional when Salah is playing, said Outlaw. Outlaw 4 and 3, 7, 11. Chelsea are in deep financial crisis. Oh, it's such a shame, isn't it? If only this was avoidable. I don't know. Perhaps not spending £1 billion on shit might be might be a start. Do I like Wirtz? Yes, I do, James. But I think he ends up at Bayern Munich. I think maybe there's people in our chat who are in Germany that can give me a better insight. But the last that I read up, it was if he moves, it'll probably be to Bayern. Apollo, yes, Apollo Creed, James. And also he was in Happy Gilmore as well. And Predator, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't watch that film though. Sergu said sell. Wow. Actually, I need a poll on this. I need a poll because I want to see how fans' opinions are. Because we asked this at the start of the AFCON. I'm going to ask it now again. Okay, 1 second, folks. Okay. Right, 3 options. I said, what would you do with Mo? New deal, sell, or allow him to run down his contract? Can I riz you up? I don't know what that means, Fred. If you're talking about Rizla, I use a pipe. I'm all good, mate. I don't use tobacco or anything. I'm straight pipe man, me. Will those league games be moved to Sunday? Give more time between the Europa League matches on Thursday to play in the league on Sunday. Yes, anytime we're playing in the Europa League on a Thursday, our league game will be Sunday. If it was a 3 p.m. scheduled kickoff that hasn't been selected then for TV, it'll be a 2 p.m. kickoff on the Sunday. I'd sell Mo in the summer, said Owen Byrne. If the money was right to the Saudis, he's not young anymore. Cash in when we still can and start 2.0. Oh, Riz means seduce. Oh, Jesus Christ, can you not just say that word then? Can you seduce me? You can give it a try. Let's see. Have a go. See how you get on. I mean, it's very easy for my missus to do it. She just has to take her top off and already the world goes silent. Them damn noise-cancelling breasts. I guess it depends on what the new manager wants to do and if he needs to sell to raise transfer funds. It also depends on what Mo wants to do. You know, Mo could have been very attached to Kloppo. That could be a huge reason why Mo wants to stick around. So I guess we'll need to. I don't remember an interview with Mo since the gaffer has made his announcement. Maybe I've missed it, but I don't think there's been one anyway. Certainly seen the one with Verge and a couple of other players, but I'm not seeing one with Mo that I'm aware of. Is my future bright or am I just seeing your shiny head? I mean, I've had better chat lines than that, Rudy. Now, come on, dude. How about if I could rearrange the alphabet, I'd put you and I together. There you go. There's one that's PC. Benjamin said, I love Mo, but my feelings will not change. The front 3 now are better. Mo is left. Darwin and Jota will take the mantle. The eyes don't deceive. So, I said months ago that I'd sell Salah in the summer. And I was, well, almost chased out of YouTube. Remember the United game where I said it in a really shitty way and I was frustrated in the game. And I said, sell the lad to Saudi or something along those lines. And I was nearly cancelled because of that. But I said the same thing as well. The eye test for me is different with Mo. I'm not seeing the same player. Still going to contribute, still going to do good things because he is a good player. But Father Time's unbeaten. And if there was 100 and something million quid on the table, I just think you'd be an idiot not to take it. Genuinely, I do. Oh, I like that one, Jared. I'll take that one. Can I be Nike and you be McDonald's? I'll be doing it and you'll be loving it. There you go. But you lost me because it's not Adidas, dude. I know, I get it wouldn't have worked with that chat up line, but there you are. Adidas is the way. Nico Williams, he signed a new deal, Renzo, a few months back with Athletic Club Bilbao. What's Riz? Oh, Dave's a boomer. Dave, how do you not know what Riz is, mate? Such an old man, Dave. God, we all know that Riz means chat up or turn on, Dave. Come on. Get with the program, dude. Have I ever had a croissant? Of course I've had a croissant. One more season, same wage, then sell. I would be absolutely astonished if Mohamed Salah signed a contract extension for 1 year on the same money. I'd do it. I'd say to the club, go ahead and sign that in a heartbeat, but I'd be astonished if he signed it. Players usually want minimum 2 years extra on these deals. So yeah. Fury's pulled out, shock. Have you seen the cut on his eye, Cop Wolf? I'm not a Fury fan, mate, by any stretch, but that's a bad cut on his eye. There's no doubt if I had to be postponed with that cut. But I can see that Salah wants to break records in Liverpool. Look, 100%. But I try to be pragmatic when I think about these things, and I can't see a world where Salah doesn't want a pay rise. Not just Salah, pretty much any footballer sitting down for a contract extension. Very, very rare that these players would ever accept less money, or at least not more money. So, do I think he deserves a pay rise? Absolutely not. No. I think the contract he's on now is the highest one the club's ever given out. And if anybody earned that, it's him. But he hasn't earned a rise. His best days are behind him. Nobody will ever convince me that I'm wrong on that. Because they are. Doesn't mean he still isn't brilliant. Doesn't mean he still can't contribute. Doesn't mean he still won't have a part to play. But he's not getting better. So how much more do you want to pay for experience if you're the club? And it's a lot of money. You know, it's a lot of money. So for me, if he said I would extend for a year at the same wages, I'd be delighted with that. But I don't think he would. Let's have a look at the poll and see how that's going. So I said, what would you do with Salah? New deal, 42% so far. Sell, 52%. And rundown contract, 6%. Who do I support in the NBA? I don't. Not into basketball. I would argue aspects of his game have improved. Such as assist levels, I would say yes. Defensively, perhaps you could make an argument that he's improved. Goal scoring wise, definitely not improved. We already mentioned assists. I don't think he's as much of a threat with his pace as he once was. And look, I've said this all along. I would like him put through the middle. I think him and Jota are our most natural finishers, and I don't like him playing in a wide position anymore. I think he gets isolated too far away from goal, and it becomes trickier and trickier to get him involved in the areas we want him to be, which is in and around the penalty area. So put him through the middle, and I'd like to see how that went. Salah has 2 more full seasons in him. Resign, but with more sponsorship and endorsement pay, he can play best in the middle. Oh, resign. Sorry, I read that as resign, mate. My stupidity, Bill, not yours. I think I agree with you, by the way. I think he does have a couple of full seasons left in him at the top level in Europe. I don't really have many doubts about that. I just don't think he'd sign a 1 year contract extension. If he would, brilliant. Charlie said, I agree about the money for Salah, but who else plays like him for the same money? It would be double, would be FSG pay for a younger player. My I guess, pushback, Charlie, would be lower the expectation. I don't expect whoever we sign to be Mohamed Salah. Because he's not going to be. Whoever it is, there isn't another Mohamed Salah out there. But we've had a sample while Mo's been away of what the team looks like without him in there. I'm not going to sit here and say that we've gotten better, but we certainly haven't dropped off a cliff. So I think if you bring in another young, fast, wide player, I think that brings a bit more of the fear factor back with that regard on the counter. I think the players that are already at the club have plenty of years left in them as well. See, look, even in his prime, if he moved, you can't expect to just bring in another Mo. It's not going to happen. So I've never had that expectation that whoever comes in has to do all Mo's numbers, because it's not possible. You know, Mo's an exception. So my threshold of what I'm expecting from a Mo replacement isn't probably as high as a lot of people's. Sell Salah to buy Elise. Go to bed. I don't know. I still have concerns about Elise, in all honesty, you know, especially the injury concerns. More confident of the final after you beat us on Wednesday. Yes and no. Peter, I'm sorry if I've mispronounced your name, sir. I think the final's a different occasion altogether. I feel like Chelsea, that's Pochettino's season on the line, because that's his route into Europe, that's a trophy, that's a bit of breathing room for him. So I do expect a better version of Chelsea to show up. It also, of course, is at Wembley, so it's not at Anfield, so we don't have that factor. I still think we're favourites going into the final, but I'm definitely not expecting to blow Chelsea away. Finals are usually fairly tight. But I'd be lying to you if I said I'm not confident, mate. I am confident, but I certainly don't think it's a formality. He had nobody to play with for Egypt. I'm sorry, mate. I'm confused as to what relevance that has. Egypt aren't very good, and that's what I was very confused, by the way. Some of the shit that Mo was getting from few people from the Egyptian side really baffled me. Like, remember that Tarek idiot who was saying that he's the worst captain to ever have the armband for Egypt, and that he didn't care. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like, how much of a sample size of sacrifice do you want for Mo and Egypt? He's always available, always tries to make sure that he represents his country, always plays for his country with distinction. That really bugged me, because it's been to the detriment of Liverpool on occasion, because I feel he was rushed back for the World Cup previously, and I don't think he was ever right the season after that either. So sometimes I think a bit of self-awareness is important on these things. Like, he is the best player that Egypt will ever have had, and ever will have, in my opinion. So they definitely deserve more respect there. I know you battered us and whatnot, but do you agree that we should have had 2 penalties? No, I don't. The first one with Conor Gallagher, I think, was the better claim, if you're asking me. I think he was going to ground before Van Dijk stepped across him, but I think of the penalty incidents, that's the one that if it was given, I would have certainly understood more. The second one with Christopher Nkunku, I feel like if that's a penalty, if that's the only level of contact it takes for fouls to be given, we're on a slippery slope for football. Because it's not like he was running at pace and it was a slight touch that sent him to the ground. He was there with his back to Virgil van Dijk. Van Dijk's thigh hit off the back of him, and he went down as if somebody had just stuck a 2-2 bullet in his hamstring. There was never anything in it. And you see it far worse at corners and every set piece. So, no, not for me. Not a hope that was a penalty. But the first one, maybe. Don't think it would have made a difference, though, in all honesty, mate. I think we were just at it that night. You could tell from the first 5 minutes that we were zoned in. And we've been slow starters at times this season. But that night, man, I was really confident after a few minutes that we were in the right place. Am I keeping up with the Six Nations? Not really. I didn't even know that it was on until about an hour ago when I was reading. I was on the journal on my phone. I seen updates for Ireland away in France in Marseille, I think. 250k subs by next week. I doubt it. But look, we do want to try and get there. So if you can hit that subscribe button, please do. The goal is to get there before we head over for this show in Boston. We're at 240,000 now, and we have about 7 or 8 weeks to try and chase down 250k for the Boston show. So if you are in that part of the world, if you're in Massachusetts, if you're greater New York area, or you'd like to come and see us, we are going to be live in Boston on March 22nd in the Foundation Room at the House of Blues, which is fairly close to Fenway Park. Tickets are on sale on Ticketmaster. If you're in America and you'd like to see us, tickets are $25. And yeah, we'd love you to come and join us for what's going to be a fun evening. And also shout out to our Clips channel, as I mentioned previously. Clips channel's been absolutely flying over the last few weeks since we've relaunched it. You're going to get some funny moments where Ben puts in funny edits and stuff. You'll get shorter form versions of our longer form content and a few other bits and pieces. Just search Anfield Agenda Clips. 250k by the summer. No. 250k by March 21st is the goal, Sergu. Look, on average, the channel does about 5,500 to 6,000 subscribers a month. So the maths make me feel like it'll be close when we go to Boston. So, do you want me to call it a night, or you want me to carry on for another while? I'm happy to stay on if you guys are happy to stay on chatting, because it's Friday night. I'm taking tomorrow off, and I'm in good spirits. So, if you guys want to stay on chatting for a while, let me know. What else we got in the chat? So, just again, carry on. Nice. Happy days. Let's keep going. So what do we make of the comments from Barcelona president Juan Laporta about the clubs in the Super League? So he said Porto, Sporting, Benfica, Anderlecht, Club Brugge, Ajax, PSV Eindhoven, Olympique Marseille, and a few more. He said all the Spanish clubs outside of Atleti are all signing up and ready to go and rejoin the Super League. No German clubs in it, you'll notice. No Paris Saint-Germain. No English clubs. Nothing very super about that, in my opinion. I'd love to see your comparison on how you've grown compared to Goldbridge's channel. Anything I can do to help you grow. Here for you, mate. Thank you, Benjamin. I don't know. No idea. I don't really try to compare us to anybody else. I don't expect to get to 1 million subscribers. I think the United stands about 1.8 or something like that. Look, if you want honesty, you want the blunt truth, I'll give it to you. You know me. My goal is simple. It's to chase down Redmen TV, because I'm competitive and I want to be the most subscribed to Liverpool fan channel on the internet. That's the goal. And that's sincerely the answer. I don't care what any other club's channels do, because they're not Liverpool. So the United Stand is it's a hugely successful channel in its own right. AFTV is the same, but they're not my competitors. My competitors are Liverpool fan content. So that's my goal, is to be the most subscribed to Liverpool fan channel. We're already the most watched fan channel on YouTube for Liverpool. Monthly views, we beat everybody there. But subscriber-wise, we've a good way to go to chase down the lads at Redmen, who have 500 and something thousand subscribers. So that's honestly my goal. If I can And do you know what? I'll be even more honest with you. I've questioned whether the day we do it is the day I stop. I've even said that to my wife. Like, let's say 2 years' time we managed to overtake them and we end up one subscriber ahead of them. I can't say with a clear conscience that might not be the day that I say thank you and good night, because that's goal achieved at that point. Yeah, that's the truth. I don't know how we'll feel at that point if we get there, but I'm not assuming we will, because it's a long way. Right, hope our fullbacks are unchanged. Robertson's a liability, leaves too many gaps. Not a coincidence we conceded less with no Robertson. Definitely have felt more defensively solid with Gomez at left back, but felt like we've lacked a little bit in attack. Don't know what the better balance is though. Yeah, don't know what the better balance is, because I find it hard to agree that we're better without Andy Robertson as well, because Robbo's been a huge part of our success. Pulling a Nico Rosberg. That's what drives me though. I'm driven because I'm competitive. It's like, that's why I laugh when people say I'm jealous of Goldbridge. Nothing could be further from the truth. I don't begrudge anyone's success, but he's not in my rearview mirror, or he's not in my orbit, because he's not a competitor to me. He's a Manchester United channel. It's got nothing to do with me. I'm in the Liverpool content world, so I want to be the biggest in this world. So that's where my competitors are. And I don't even like to use competitors, because there's a lot of good people, and I've not got a bad word really to say about anyone that makes Liverpool content. I just want to be number one. Is there any news on Trent and Virgil's contract situation? No, Jake, and to be fair, I don't know if I expect there to be until we know the manager situation, because I'm trying to put myself in my position. If I was Trent right now, or Virgil, would I be rushing to sign the new deal? No. I wouldn't be making my mind up either way, but I'd certainly want to know what the future holds. I think that's reasonable for everyone. Yeah, I think that, honestly, I think that's fair for any of them in the contract situation to just want to know what the future holds. Dave said, 2-year member, thanks for the great content. Look, nobody ever needs to thank me for anything at all. This is a pleasure, and I mean that. It's outside of my family, it's the thing I'm most proud of in this world, is the connection we've got with the channel, the camaraderie that have gotten me through some really tough times in my own life, and I know from you guys I've gotten some of you through as well. So I'm very fortunate to be able to do this every day and chat with amazing people who I hope to meet in person at some point as well. Do you think Trent's worried about Bradley? No, I don't think worried would be the word. No, I don't think worried. I think, because we've always had two on the right side, right? We had Trent and we had Nathaniel Klein. So we had Trent then, I guess, to some extent, and we had Nico Williams. So I don't think he'd be worried, but there's a lot of uncertainty at the minute because we don't know where Trent's future with regards to his position is. We all assume it's going to be in midfield, and it could very well be. So if it is, then Conor Bradley's not a problem for him. I thought your goal was to be the best and deliver best Liverpool content. Well, I don't know what you're trying to say. That's pretty much what I've said, is it not? If we got to be the most subscribed to channel, then I would say we're doing what you've said, being the best and delivering the best content. No, the thing that drives me is to get to number one, and I don't want to get soppy. I feel like I get too soppy at times, but doing you people proud. is another huge factor for me, because when I let myself down, I get more annoyed about letting you guys down than myself. Like the Salah situation, the United game, that really hit me because I knew I'd shit the bed and I knew I'd let everybody down. And I hate letting people down because a lot of people have put a lot of belief and trust in me, and I like to repay that and try to repay that. So, yeah. I hate talking about these type of things, though, because I'm a soppy old git when it comes to these type of things. Klopp taking over the channel after a year away. Well, that was the plan. I did want to say it. But yeah, that's what Klopp's doing when he finishes Liverpool. He's having a year break and then he's coming in as a co-presenter on Anfield Agenda. For a one-man fronted channel, hats off to you. Thank you. But that's a selfish thing. So over the years, we've tried to bring in people to be part of the channel. Some of it successfully, some of it not successfully, some of it my fault, some of it not my fault. But ultimately, it's a selfish thing. I don't want to share you with anyone. That's the truth. I like the relationship I have with you guys, and I like being responsible for whatever happens. Yeah, I'm looking at that Tyson Fury cut, and I'm going to put it up on screen just in case anybody hasn't seen it, because look at that cut there. That's a nasty cut. So that's the one that's going to have the fight rescheduled. And there's nothing fake or iffy about that. That's a real cut. Let's check back in on our poll. So, new deal, 43%, sell 51%, and rundown contract 6%. We can end that. See, it's close. Some people are torn between giving Mo a new deal and running the contract down. Next top of the league presenter has to be an Arsenal fan. Can be doing that along with a Chelsea one. I would agree, Liam, that the next addition to top of the league should be an Arsenal fan. I think that's probably a good show, Liam. Yeah, and I think you might be happy, Liam, with that. So yeah, watch this space. There's a lot of stuff that you guys don't know that's happening in the background that I can't even talk to you about. One of it, if it happens, and it'll be the summer, probably biggest thing I'll have ever been involved in, if it pulls off. Oh no, it's not League Gunner. It's not League Gunner. I could guess. I absolutely see why you'd guess that. Lee's a friend of mine. Lee's an Arsenal fan, but Lee has his own channels, his own content, and is a fairly busy man. Lee has lots of bits and pieces doing. So no, it isn't Lee. But we are talking with somebody at the minute from an Arsenal persuasion to maybe come in and help us on top of the league, because there's only so many hours in a week, and yeah. So there you go. Well, wait and see. True Geordie, no. Well, he's not a Newcastle fan, or he's a Newcastle fan, not an Arsenal fan. I'm over on the 18th of February. I'm over in London to do a kickoff show for the United Luton game. I should be the one to take the next job. Would love to see Anfield Agenda on tour, going live for one season around the grounds. Oh, mate, that'd be class. I have a dream that I've talked about for the channel since we started, and that was to go on a pre-season tour. Not with the club, not affiliated to the club, but just do it ourselves, follow the club around for a pre-season tour. And I hope to do that before I hang up the old microphone at some point. Ideally, I'd like to do it in Australia and New Zealand and Asia, because they're parts of the world I'd love to go to, and to do that and watch Liverpool would be awesome. So yeah, that's my dream. I know Adam got to do it from a United context. I think he's been to Dubai and a few places following the team on pre-season. It's always been my dream to do it for Anfield Agenda, to travel around with Liverpool, watching them for pre-season. 3-1, Democratic Republic of Congo. Wow, what a result. Are you going to try to do another live stream with Leo's goals? Yes, absolutely. That was on me. That was my fault that second one didn't happen. So I definitely want to do another stream with Leo, 100%. Craig, if we won the quad with the Europa League, would that rank ahead of the Invincible and treble winners? Oh God, that's a really good question. No to the treble. As much as I despise Manchester City, a Premier League, a Champions League, and a domestic cup, that would outrank our quadruple in my eyes, because the Champions League is the big one. Arsenal's invincible season, I'm not somebody that rates that as highly as others. I think for me the best Premier League team is the Manchester City team that hit 100 points. And if we'd hit 101 points, I'd have been saying it's us. What would I rank our quadruple in? I don't know if there is a comparable achievement. Because like cleaning up domestically and winning the only European competition you're in. That's a pretty amazing season if you did it. Thoughts on Fury postponing the fight with Usyk? I just put up the image a minute ago, Dave. I can't see any other outcome after that cut other than postponing it. It's a sickener because I was looking forward to the fight, as I'm sure most of the world was. But I don't. What can you do? That cut's open. It's bad. It needs time to heal. For me, our quad would beat City's treble, but not United, said Mark. Yeah, anything City does is tainted. I agree with you all on that. But I don't know. And also, I don't mean this to sound rude, but I don't care. I don't care how other people want to compare it or be like, we'll be belittled no matter what. You and I both know if we win a quadruple, they're gonna just try to undermine it anyway and talk about it being like not this never before achieved thing, but this inferior version of what could hypothetically still be won by somebody else in the future. But that's, I guess, football, and that's football fandom. If we finished, I don't think we will, but if we finish the season with a champion, or oh God, I wish, a Premier League and Europa League, whatever else happens, that would be amazing. If you win a League Cup, brilliant. If you win an FA Cup, brilliant. But they're the two that, because remember the season where we were close and we came up short? It kind of felt a bit of an anticlimax to see us lift the FA Cup and the League Cup, and the two big ones we came up short in. That still hurts, because I would have very happily swapped both of those domestic cups for one of the other two in a heartbeat. So that felt like a really tough celebration, if there's such a thing. Thoughts on Hamilton going to Ferrari? I don't know, because I don't know enough about Formula 1. I would imagine when you start your career driving Formula 1 cars that Ferrari would be the holy grail. I don't know enough about Formula 1 though to know what to make of the announcement that he's leaving after one more season. Can we arrange something to try to force Klopp to stay for another 2 years? I doubt it. I doubt anything will make him change his mind, and particularly when the club are already underway with their search right now. So yeah, I think we're going to have to just accept that Jurgen will be leaving at the end of the season and hope for the best end possible. Europa League is trash. It's still a trophy though, and I wouldn't say it's trash. It's the second tiered European competition. And any club that wins it is going to enjoy winning it and celebrate it. And it'll be another competition Jurgen Klopp hasn't won. So, and look, I'm going to be honest about it. The final is in Dublin. So the idea of Klopp maybe signing off in Dublin with a Europa League victory with Liverpool to put us back in the Champions League, to give another trophy, it appeals a lot. I'd be extremely giddy if that happened. City relegated, Haaland leaves. So, actually on Haaland, it can't be just me who's noticed a lot more Real Madrid talk over the past few weeks about Haaland. I wonder what happens. I wonder if Real Madrid come in to try and trigger that release clause in the summer. I think I'm almost expecting them to have a pop, because I think he wants to go to Madrid as well. And I think, as I've always said, if you look at what Madrid need right now, it's not Mbappe, it's somebody through the middle. So I think Haaland's a better fit. So I'm interested to see if they do come in to try and pay that release clause. How much is the clause? It's rumoured to be 150. And look, City's argument is, if it is triggered and he leaves, they make a tidy profit on what they paid for him anyway. At least that was the line that came out when the clause was mentioned first. Apparently Haaland hates Manchester. I've never been in Manchester, Kerry, so I don't have an opinion on Manchester. But I've never bought this emotional connection with Manchester City. I feel like he probably played on it because it was the easiest Premier League title to win, and he wants to complete the set before he finishes up, in my opinion, of the big clubs, the European Cups, the Premier League, La Ligas, and it was City being what they were at that. Like, let's say City were mid-table. The fuck is he joining Manchester City? They don't even have conversations about emotional attachments then. I get it. His dad played for Manchester City. But nothing makes me feel like he's that connected to that club. I just don't believe it. I want the Premier League with COVID / the flu thing not ruining the celebrations. 100%, Dave. 100%. That's the dream sign off, is the Premier League. Because everybody was denied that. The fans, the players, the coaches. Yeah, that would be beautiful to see a league title celebration for Jurgen, with the parade, with the adulation of the fans in a full Anfield on the last day for the trophy presentation, or the last home day if we win it by then. Haaland is a lifelong City fan. He's not, though. I mean, he wore the kits because his dad played, but I don't think he gives a fuck about Manchester City, mate, because nobody does. His dad played for him. I'm sure there's pictures of him in a Manchester City kit, but I'm not having it. I'm not having that why Ronaldo and Messi were at Barcelona and Real Madrid, or that while Manchester City were down through the divisions, that Erling Haaland was tuning in to watch League One Manchester City. Nah, not buying that. Do you think top of the league should have someone who supports the local lower league club? No. Look, over time, I hope top of the league has many voices from many different football clubs, and I think at the start you try to tick as many of the boxes for the bigger clubs as possible, because they're the opinions that I think are most likely to be spoken about. But over time, yeah, I think I'd like to add in, and I think Ben's probably the same, especially for the podcast. I'd like a few lower league football fans, a couple of female voices as well. Would be nice to add in over time. But it's a early doors for the channel, and we're trying to just do what we can with the hours and budgets that we have. Craig, look at the what news? I don't know what that is, Mansour. Can you just give me the news, bud? I don't know what it is that you're asking me to look at. I've never seen Liverpool play before live in the flesh, but I want to get tickets for the Wolves final game of the season. My great granddad supports Wolves. How do I do this though? You don't. Quite simply, you won't unless you have unlimited budget. Best of luck. Those tickets are going to be Jurgen Klopp's last game managing Liverpool in the league. That's going to be a ridiculous amount of money, mate. Honestly, I wouldn't even try to look at it if I was you, because it's going to be a disgusting amount of money. You're making a living out of the channel, right? Not just me, mate. The channel employs 3 people full-time. Myself, Ben and Connor, all are full-time employees of our company. So, yeah, the channel employs 3 of us full-time, as I said. But we do all take a salary. So whatever, we reinvest most of the other stuff that if there's any profit each month, we reinvest. Like, we've made a big investment in some technology that we're going to be ready to release in a week or two. It's been worked on for the past few months. Reinvest and upgraded loads of tech this summer, new cameras, better microphones, all that kind of stuff. A centre-back from Salzburg was offered to Liverpool, but we opted not to sign. Okay. I don't know if that's to do with where we are with the manager or for another reason, but thank you for the update, Mansour. Appreciate it. 2 tickets behind the bench went for 60k. Fucking hell. I don't know. That just sounds absurd to me. And look, I'll be honest with you. If I had 2 tickets for the last game of the season, somebody offered me 60 grand for them, I'd give them to them. Because that, to me, that's a life-changing amount of money. I certainly can't ever imagine being in a position to drop that much wage on a couple of tickets for something. My God. Did you see Anderlecht and Gent to be replayed because of a VAR penalty error? Yeah, Robert, I did, but funnily enough, I don't see them being ridiculed and mocked like we were when Jurgen suggested a replay. Seems like in Belgium they had the common sense to have a replay. But in England, no, we got laughed at. And Gary Neville told us not to be writing letters or moaning. You know, how dare we want a fair shake of the whip. Yeah. So I did notice it. And I've also noticed that no ridicule. Your reaction against Alisson's winner against West Brom still makes me laugh to this day. I can't even remember that one. Honestly. I remember the goal. Sorry, I just can't remember the celebration. I know being there in person is one hell of an experience, but 25k is mental when it's 30 quid. Subscription on TV. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, go to the last game or buy a brand new BMW. Go to the last game or pay off a good chunk of your mortgage if you had a mortgage. Go to the last game or put your kids through college. Yeah, I know which ones I'd be doing. Right, look, I'm going to call it a night, my friends. I will see you all on Sunday for the watch along, 3:30. Again, please do check out the Clips channel. Don't forget to drop a like on the stream as well and hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. Have a wonderful weekend. Remember, I won't be live tomorrow, but I will be back on Sunday for the watch along. We're going to have our post-match content. We're going to continue doing our reaction to the funniest social media posts around the game as well. So, yeah, have a great one. Thank you for joining me tonight. I've had loads of fun. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Sunday. Much love. Bye.